Yeah,
ordinance
right
crimes.
about.
Yep.
There's
I was
just
the one
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Collins. Here. Baloo.
Here.
Santos.
Here.
Van. Here. Amstutz. Here. Buxton. Here. There were two separate meeting minutes sent out. First was for the special work session that took place on March 3rd. Any amendments to those minutes? Hearing none, minutes stand as approved. Second was for the actual council meeting on March 3rd. Any amendments to those minutes? Hearing none, minutes stand as approved. Takes us to public speaks. Mr. Brown.
Here on behalf of East Canton Youth Baseball, Seth Brown, the president, just asking for continued use of the middle field at Worley Park that we use for our 12U teams, and then we share the top field usually in the past with the softball organization as well.
Any questions?
Works for me.
Maybe we have to have at least a motion or something, right?
So moved.
Second.
All right. Baloo, second by Van. Roll call. Collins.
Yeah.
Baloo.
Yeah.
Santos.
Yeah.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz.
Yeah.
Buxton.
Yeah.
Easy breezy. Have a good
Thank
day.
you, gentlemen.
Yeah. Yes, it's a good point. It's a good point. Fiscal officer guys just mentioned that the girls softball organization sent in a letter requesting the same access to the fields. They were not able to make it tonight. That is in your meeting packet. The council wants to consider granting access to the half access top field and then full access bottom field at work.
Is there anybody scheduling the teams?
Yeah, it's all cleared up.
It's all clear?
Yeah, they have a system in place. It's been in place for many years, so.
So moved.
Second.
All right, roll call. Collins.
Yeah.
Baloo.
Yeah.
Santos.
Yeah.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz. Buxton.
Yeah.
Kathy, anything for today? Stephanie. Sue.
Go Louisville
I'm still, yeah. Made it to state, right?
Yeah.
That's
and
great.
Perry.
Yeah, Perry as well, yeah. Well, Louisville Division 3, Perry Division 2, I think. Yeah,
The
That's
kids
great.
don't have to go to school Friday
really?
in Louisville, yeah.
Nice.
They're taking a spirit bus down to state.
Good for them.
Yeah.
That's amazing. It's exciting. We wish them well. All right. Lillian, I'm going to mess up your last name. I
That's
apologize for
okay.
that. Can you say it for the council?
It's BAME,
Okay.
Lillian BAME. I'm here on behalf of the Stark County Health Department. I just wanted to drop off the most current information on our environmental health services staff. That would be all of our food inspectors, and then our district sanitarians. Paige Seach would be the one for your village. And then just a couple highlights on the department. And we just want to touch base with you guys, make sure we're meeting your expectations, see if there are any questions, comments, concerns that you all have for us. And yeah,
I got a question.
yes.
I've been on the news, some states have been ceasing the use of fluoride in water. Since we get our water from Canton, I didn't know if the county has a stance on that issue.
Not that I'm aware of. I can ask Randy, who runs our well services, if he has any information on that, and I can direct him to provide that over to the village council.
Yeah, I've had some people ask me about that, you know. I'm sure you've heard of it as well.
Yeah, not too much. I did just start in December, so I haven't gotten into the nitty gritty. But I do know that people are starting to have
You're aware of
fluorescent
it
stances.
is an
Yeah.
issue.
Yeah.
It's just something I'd be curious to hear the
Yep.
county's stance on that.
I feel like I hear more about lead than I do fluoride, but
Yeah.
I'll pass along that I was asked about that so that we can be prepared to answer any questions.
Yeah, shoot the stance to us.
Yeah.
Appreciate to hear it.
I'll
Thanks.
pass that along tomorrow when I go in.
Anything else from council?
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
I'll leave this here on the table for you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Elkins, do you want to wait till later when we're discussing the camera proposal, or do you want to just?
I'd be happy to.
Okay, is it okay, council okay with that? All right. Ms. Lambert,
Actually, I just want to let you know I'm putting the bar up for sale. And I'm done trying to make it work. I have had problems with the cops for years. It doesn't seem to be changing. Nobody will come into my bar. Everybody makes me feel like I don't belong here. And so it's up for sale if anybody wants it. I'm done and I'm out. So I can't do anything else. I don't know what else to do. I can't put no signs nowhere. I can't. Nobody wants to help me. So I can't do it anymore. It's just too much.
What kind of problems were you having with the cops? What do you mean by that?
Well, they park across the street from the bar, and then it deters everybody who doesn't realize that they're not there to scare them.
Like at the Bell store?
Yes, because they're parked across the street, and they all tell me they don't. People have told me I won't come in there because the cops are across the street. But I've always been told by the mayor himself that they are not out to come after my customers, but it still deters them from coming there. And I'm lucky to have 2 people a day there. And I don't know what else to do. I've redone the back. I've even done the inside. I just don't know where to go with this. It seems like I'm blackballed. And some of the other people said that they don't come in because they didn't know. There's nothing downtown anymore. Like, all downtown is just not down. There's just nothing there. They feel that, the one side of people are like, there's nothing. And really, there is nothing here. So why come downtown? There's nowhere to go besides the bar or the pizza place. I don't know what else to do. I've tried. I can't put out a sign anywhere, like a blinky sign or anything, because there's nowhere to put it. We asked to put it down here at by the Bell store. They refused. All you got are the people around you with properties to ask to even put it on their, in their yard. I can't broadcast my DJs or anything. If I try to go on the East Canton page, it's like approved 3 days after I do it. Well, then he's already coming. So what good did that do me? I don't know what to do. If someone has an idea, please give it to me. Because I don't want to give this back to the guy that originally had it. Because that's where we're going. You know who Mark Mills is? That's where it's going to go. When I got here, I stopped all that. But you're going to go back to drugs and fighting, and that's where you're going to go. If you got an idea, help me.
I'll say, I was completely unaware that you were feeling that way, ma'am.
I do feel that way.
Well, it was never,
This is the first I've heard about any of
I
that.
was unaware of all that.
I've been to the mayor because of the cops. I don't want you to feel sorry for me. I want you to help me make it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Can she not put one of those signs out front? Those signs that sit on the sidewalk?
I haven't seen any request for signage that was turned down. I mean, we'll look at each one based on zoning. I'm not, ma'am, you and I have met a couple of times about the police, and as I said then, I still stand by. The police at times, they will sit at Bell stores, but they're not looking at your customers. They're sitting at Bell stores running traffic or writing reports. And we have tried to make some adjustments to that, just to make sure the appearance is there, not there, that they're waiting for somebody to leave.
Yeah, they need to, other people don't understand that though. They
Yeah.
think you're deterring them because you're sitting there.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. And we, like I said, we have, spoken with officers just about appearance and things like that. At the same time, their first job is to protect the public. And they're not there to target anyone. I don't think, there's any record of even some of your patrons leaving and getting pulled over. We're not targeting. That's not what we're here for. But, at the same time, we don't want to see a business fail either. So, we can look to see what kind of signage is available for you. If you want to put an application in, Henry's the new zoning inspector, so he will be the one that you work with. He's in the village every day, so if you have ideas that you want to bring to Henry, please do. As far as social media, I would just recommend, expanding your outreach, adding, if you have your own page, if you have Lambert's Pop Top page, having others like the page and really expand it that way. That way, the Community Connect page is a great page. I post on there about breaks and stuff and all of that, but at least you have a solid base on your social media outside of the Community Connect page. And then if you start listing events, listing others can share those themselves, and it just creates a little bit of publicity. I don't want to tell you how to run your business, man. I just a couple ideas that,
I don't know nothing about how to, honestly, I do taxes for a
Understand.
living, so I'm not much of a computer person and how to make things work, and I haven't figured that out.
I understand.
I
Do you
think you
tell
have
your
the,
customers unless they're staggering or obviously drunk or disorderly, the police aren't gonna even pay any attention to them?
One of them was walking down the road. His name was Garrett. He was walking down the road. He didn't want to drive because he'd been drinking. One of the cops threatened to give him a disorderly conduct from walking down the road.
There was more to it than that.
How long ago was that?
Last summer, I believe.
No, actually, this was a couple months ago. It was Garrett who lives up the road. It wasn't, you're talking about Greg. I know you are, because
Yeah.
Greg is the troublemaker.
Yeah.
He doesn't come there anymore. We had to stop him from coming.
I may have them mixed up, but yeah, I can look into that. That's the first I'm hearing of the other incident.
we had a couple car shows before in the past, right?
Huh?
You had some car shows there before?
Motorcycle.
No, motorcycle. We try to do events for
Right,
sick
but I mean,
kids
we
and stuff.
closed
Yeah.
the road, did we close the road?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had no problem doing that. I
No.
mean, that was another event that we definitely support.
Find any young person, they'll help you set up a Facebook page and a Snap. Anybody can do that,
Mhm.
especially if you have grandkids.
Actually, I have kids, but they have jobs and don't have time to,
If you get the page on Facebook, then it's just a matter of going on your page and saying, hey, we're having a DJ Saturday night. That's it. It's easy, really, after the page is established.
Thank you. I won't take up any more of your time. I just wanted to warn you guys because it's not going anywhere for me. And if it doesn't do something, I'm going to have to give it back. I mean, the license is still mine, and I'll try to keep Mark Mills out as long as I can. But ultimately, he's offering me to buy it. So
Well, we'll do everything we can to support you. And we can talk more about any requests that you have for signage and whatnot. I think the village will, the council has shown the ability and the willingness to work with different businesses. I'm sure it'll be no different for you within reason, right? So
yeah,
just come to council or zoning with what your requests, and we'll handle those.
okay. Thank you guys. I
Yeah, thank you.
appreciate it.
Gary, I seen you sneaking back there. You have anything?
No, thank you.
All right. That concludes public speaks. Takes us to committee reports, service.
Okay, under roads, worked on filling potholes with some coal patch. Got most of them covered. Waiting on quotes for spot repairs from Wood Street to the intersection of Browning. Got some quotes out for that, wait for them to come back. Ryan Hoover from ODOT called today with some great news for the village. ODOT's going to extend their project out past 44 going east on 172 to Browning and a little bit past that and fix that whole entire area. That won't be done until next summer though. Repaired several stop signs, speed limit signs around the village that were falling over or hit. In the process of documenting and prioritizing catch basins that are in very bad shape around the village. Put in our salt allocations for the upcoming winter season. And underwater, nothing to currently report, which is good news. Buildings, Brad's carpet cleaning, stripped and waxed the PD floor. We took a prisoner's bench out of the PD and put up new shelvings for what was the prisoner's room. New first aid cabinets have been delivered and put up and installed in the service garage and the office. Under zoning of Group up 3 permits. Parks, the playground equipment at the top of the park closest to the basketball courts has been removed and is ready for the new equipment to be installed as of the date right now is April 28th through the 30th. You guys already talked about softball, so that's taken care of. You guys should have a letter in front of you for that too. Make the request, council, I know it's in your minutes, for the approval of our new mower for the park, the X-Mark mower. That's all I have. Unless you have any questions?
I had an old lady the other day ask me, she was walking on the track.
Okay.
Neighbor, she wanted to know when the bathrooms was gonna be open.
As soon as the weather's stable. Some nights go down to 28 or 30, and I don't want freezing pipes or anything, so it will be open probably the end of this month, beginning of April.
I told her I'd ask.
Probably beginning of April, like I said, maybe the end of the month, just depending on weather. Any other questions?
Just kind of willing to take up the motion for the X-Mark zero turn and cutter power sales not to exceed 17,981.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we move forward with that purchase.
Okay.
Do we still have the Ford, or did we get rid of that one yet?
We still have the Ford.
I know we talked
We had
before
talked about trading it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any thoughts of that still, or just maybe try to sell it outright after we?
We might try to sell it outright. I think it's probably the best thing to do. I think we'll have to do some investigating on how much it's worth approximately before I make that decision. How we're gonna handle that, I'll talk with Charlie about that.
All right, standing motion, roll call, Collins.
Yeah.
Baloo.
Yeah.
Contos.
Yay.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz. Hudson.
I got one more thing for you. It just reminded me. The old water truck. We're gonna have to get approval to either scrap that out or sell that or whatever council wants to do with that.
Is that 1991?
91,
Yeah.
hole in the floorboards, holes in the seat. It's pretty bad shape. It runs, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's gonna do anybody any justice.
Right.
So it's entirely up to council. All they want to do, and my recommendation would be go ahead and go through with the scrap.
It's just sitting right now.
And I believe Kurt dropped the insurance, what, Kurt, 2 weeks ago, maybe? 3 weeks ago?
Well, it's still insured until we get our new policy, but I did not put it on the new policy.
Okay.
You don't think the value's any more than?
More than
scrap?
500 maybe, I don't know what scrap is, but I don't think it's valued over 500.
Whether you need the title to take it to this listings, but you'll need just a verbal resolution to authorize Henry to do that.
I'll make a motion to scrap the 91. I'll second.
What is it? 1991 what?
I believe I'll double check, but I think it's a 91.
92.
92, I knew it was somewhere under.
1 ton, half ton?
1 ton, I think it's 3,500 series.
It was a piece of junk 20 years ago.
Big ton.
All right, we have a standing motion. Roll call, Collins.
Yeah.
Baloo.
Yeah.
Contos.
Yay.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz.
Yeah.
Hudson.
Yeah.
Anything else?
That's all.
Thanks, Henry.
Thank you, guys.
Takes us to safe, chief.
Good evening, gentlemen. This week, basically, you've been working with Henry, been painting in the department still. Like you said, they did strip the floors and polish them for us, so things are starting to look pretty good down there. Just doing some general housekeeping stuff, cleaning. Somebody graciously donated a fridge to the department, so that was installed last week. And another family donated a lockout kit for us to have for our cruisers, for vehicles, which again, we appreciate very much. Both parties wish to remain anonymous. This week we met with Flock Safety. They gave us a demo on their system, and we're currently kind of working on an MOU with them, which would allow us to at least utilize their system without installing any hardware here with no obligation or cost of the village. I also met this week with Chief Tarowski from Louisville, and we discussed an MOU. Both of us are agreeable to that, so we're going to sit down and start working on something for council, probably within the next week or so. trying to get things back on track as far as our relationship goes with them. In addition to that, met with the school superintendent. We kind of discussed some of our thoughts on school safety and working with the schools on certain projects moving forward. He seemed amiable to that. So one of the things we talked about was the Handle with Care program. So I'm going to meet with a gentleman next week who's administering that for Stark County, and we're going to sit down and see if we can kind of partner with the schools, kind of as an initial thing for that. My part-time officer has been stepping up. They've been filling up a lot more shifts, so most of our shifts are going covered now. Since we've been able to do that, I've been able to put together a couple safety details. So we've had 2 traffic safety details within the past couple of weeks. Worked out pretty well. Had a number of stops and citations are up that were issued. And got our LISO app in to the state, so we're just waiting on approval for that. And hopefully we'll be able to find some surplus stuff that would benefit the department. So as soon as that goes through, I'll have access to their website and we'll be able to kind of go from there. Any questions?
Chief, there should be already in place a mutual aid agreement with those.
There is, but he said it was so old that they weren't comfortable still having it. So he said it dated several years back. So he just kind of wanted something a little more refreshed. And I kind of agreed with him. Some of the
Well,
stuff.
Stacy, it's good to look at those every couple of years.
Sure, absolutely. Anything else?
How's everything else going for you as far as?
Everything's going excellent. Everything is going very, very well. I'm very enthusiastic and positive about how things are proceeding with the department.
Is there anything that you feel that you need from us or anything to help with?
I think right now, just the things that we've kind of discussed, obviously your input with everything is great. And I really think once I get something together with Flock here, I'll present it to you gentlemen. But I think you guys will be very impressed with the capabilities that we have, especially if we are able to partner with the schools with some of the things that they're able to do just with overlays and software that they have. Very, very interesting stuff. So. Okay.
Thank you very much, Chief.
You all probably received the safety report from Chief. They had 65 total calls the last 2 weeks. So they've been pretty busy. We're seeing an uptick in shoplifting at some of the neighborhood stores. So they've been very busy. I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce Mr. Trevor Elkins. He's with Targeting and Solutions. He also serves as the mayor. Mayor Elkins, I'm going to screw up the city again, if you don't mind, if you could share.
Sure. My name is Trevor Elkins, as Mayor Spencer said. I'm the mayor of Newburgh Heights, so I'm serving my 4th term. And I say serving because sometimes being mayor, it feels like a sentence because you take the heat a lot of times. And especially when you're in the business of increasing and assisting the police department with modern technology for traffic control and enforcement. Many of you know, since COVID, speeding is just skyrocketed off the charts. I don't know why, but it seems like COVID just kind of freed things up and people do what they want to do on the roads now. So what our technology does is expands the police department's capability of not having to have the officer on the road all the time. They can be in the neighborhoods responding to those 65 or 70 or 80 calls they get every week or every 2 weeks, but also still being able to use modern technology that has been ruled constitutional in the state of Ohio 4 times now to help curb speeding. Our technology does also have the capacity to do automatic license plate readers. So similar to what Flock does, we have that capacity. My community uses both Flock and automated as well as mobile traffic cameras. Flock is an incredible tool. We've taken so many. So I only says automatic license plate readers, whether you use Flock or a different vendor, it's an incredible tool. It's the exact same technology that goes into our speed cameras. I'm really not here to give you a pitch, more so than just really, I know you have a contract. I've met with the chief. The chief invited me down to meet with him. I met with the mayor, law director. I'm really here to answer your questions and try to make this more of a conversation so you can understand really what we do. Then a sales pitch, if you will. It's really pretty simple though. The units go inside the road. You set a speed set by the chief sets a speed threshold. And if the vehicle's exceeding that limit, it captures the data, picture of the car, several pictures, and including video of the vehicle. That we then take that, match it with NLETS, which is an international database that's linked to BMVs and things like that. We then match it, put a package together that comes back to the police department. We do not issue any citations. That data comes back to the police department. It is reviewed by a police officer. So if the citation says it's supposed to be a blue Honda Civic and it's a red Ford Taurus, the police chief or whoever's reviewing that citation rejects the citation. The mismatch rate is less than 0.1%, but it does happen. And that's why you have the extra human review of the data. There's also built into the law the right that the court has that if a situation comes into play, it gets appealed. Let's say the motorist says, listen, I'm going to appeal this ticket. And it goes to the municipal court for appeal. The prosecutor says, okay, you know what, let's cut a deal. Instead of the ticket being $175, it's going to be $25 or $50. Or if the motorist is then able to prove there's a mismatch or something was wrong, even after review by the police department, then it's also can simply be dismissed. No points on your license, doesn't impact your insurance rates, and there's no court costs. So it's a civil violation, it's not a criminal violation. That's kind of the rough overview. So I'm open to questions.
The idea would be that we would have, I believe, 5 fixed position. I believe.
So I did take a look at ODOT's map and, the village, the roadways, at least 4. At least 4. I would almost maybe go 4 and then a handheld unit that the chief can move around pretty quickly. I mean, it's the size of a standard LiDAR gun. He just puts it in the car and sticks it out the window. It captures the same.
When you're flock equipment, what's the cost of that, and can that be added on?
Yeah, we build it in. I have not used our flock equipment, our ALPR readers, so I'd have to get some more detail, but we do have it, we can use it, and we've used it in other jurisdictions.
But I think what the chief's looking at is put them in each patrol car, correct?
No, these would be stationary and fixed.
Oh, all right.
So I got a question. It says
Sure.
detection of all passing vehicles.
Mhm.
What kind of data do you collect on all passing vehicles?
So just like the flock cam, it would be keeps the license plate. And by the way, the data is yours. It's not ours. We don't keep it. But it's license plate. And then if a citation, if that threshold gets nailed, then it loads into our system. We put a package the other side of the chief. Otherwise, we delete it.
Okay.
It's gone. Yeah. We don't save it.
So you're not saving,
No.
and no third party is
Nope.
getting the data from our entire village,
100% correct. Yeah, we
Mailed
do
to
not
them
do
in
that.
Washington and the FBI?
Yeah,
might
no,
have
no,
to
no,
show-
no. We're not that kind of big brother.
Good.
So
We couldn't store all that data anyway. I mean, it's just
They
enormous. They can, right.
the goal would be to allow our officers to focus on neighborhoods, stop signs, other violations, while slowing down motorists coming into the village. That's the goal. It's to ensure the safety of our residents. I'm sure you all receive the same calls that I do about speeding and how it's out of control. So we're trying to find ways to make our village a little more safer, also while freeing up our officers to focus on the other violations that are happening.
If you go to my website, there's on the left-hand column of the site, there are 4 studies, 3 national studies, and then 1 specific to my community. We've been running cameras. We're one of the first in the state of Ohio to implement them. We've been running them for over a decade now. And we've seen a significant reduction in speeds. Still speeding. Now, the other thing too about what our program, it allows plenty of latitude. Like I wasn't paying attention and I'm going 6 over the speed limit. You're not getting a ticket from that. You're getting a ticket when you're traveling excessively. So when you're at 10 or over, you're getting the ticket. You're doing 4 over, you're not getting a ticket for that. You're just not. The cameras won't take that picture. So, but there are significant studies done by the National Transportation Safety Board and others that prove the effectiveness of these tools. And they are proliferating, not just in Ohio, but across the country.
Do they run this in Mentor? In Mentor? I know they got
Willoughby
this-
Hills.
Willoughby Hills.
Willoughby
okay.
Hills has it, yep.
Well, they'd send you a picture.
No, no.
If you did, you're paying.
I've gotten 3 from Cleveland. That's a different deal. But
Could you, while you're here, also address, your company proposed some changes to our basic code and specifically the fine structure,
Mhm.
the fee structure?
So one of the so the fine structure is set at $175 for your first offense, and people are like, well, that's a lot more than what our regular ticket is. Not when you factor in your court cost, your insurance rate, and your points. It still comes out significantly less. However, there's the state traffic camera code says that your citations should be equivalent to a substantially similar criminal code. So our recommendation, you don't have to do this, but to avoid any headaches, what our recommendation would be to change your traffic criminal citation for speeding from an MM, which is a maximum fine of $150, to an M4, which means you could charge up to $250 for a traditional traffic speeding ticket. Not you, but the court. Or do you have mayor's court? Do you do mayor's
Yeah.
court? Okay, so you could so in your mayor's court, you could hear those. But that just makes sure that your traffic, your photo camera, and your traffic criminal, the two align. Hasn't been litigated, but nobody wants to be the first. So as an advisory, my recommendation would be to make that from an MM to an M4.
And based on that, you'll see 2 proposals. The first would be to approve the contract, and the second would be to amend the basic code. That's why you have 2 separate ordinances. Obviously, the second one follows the first. If you don't approve the contract, you'll need to amend the code.
is part of this contract, you're privy to our state money that we get for law enforcement?
I don't understand the question.
Local government.
Local government fund that we talked about, yeah, and that.
Oh, we don't get that.
Okay.
We just forfeit that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's what, 26,000 we had discussed last time?
I think that sounds about right.
Yeah, 26,000 annually would be forfeited, but based on the projected ticket volume, based on traffic volume, that would,
26,000.
And there's a projected number in
yeah.
your packet.
Minus your
Based on
50%,
No, that's your projected number.
after the 50%.
40%.
I'm sorry?
40.
40%.
Yeah.
Yeah, based on-
The village keeps
Yeah.
60.
Have you been monitoring traffic to project that
Yeah,
estimate? Or?
we pull the ODOT, the figures. ODOT monitor traffic counts, and that's what we pull.
That is 50, yeah. It's marked 50 there, but
It's a 50% collection rate.
right.
Well,
Yeah.
so half the people actually paying.
Unless, and this would be a step that we would move forward at a collection process, because it is a civil violation. Some cities and villages choose to do that, some don't.
Yeah.
So it's entirely up to what I think it's written, the way it's written is the chief and the mayor would make that determination.
Based on what, we did a speed study less than 2 years ago. And the speed study we did less than 2 years ago, showed that 26% of our motorists were going at least 10 miles an hour over the speed limit. 26%.
That's enormous.
Yeah, it's a huge amount. And we have residents that live on those streets that are very opinionated, rightfully so, for their own safety, the safety of their children. Based on those numbers, the ODOT numbers, your group is estimating 35,000 citations a year.
Correct.
35,000. And I think that that's realistic based on what I've seen as far as traffic behavior within the village. It's important to know that when these things are put in place, these fixed position, our residents will know where they're at. They're gonna get notices, they're gonna get, cards sent to their house.
Yeah.
It'd be a 30-day notice to everybody within the village, they'll know where they're at. And then they're also, once the cameras are in place, I believe council would want to, and I agree with this, that we be at 30 days worth of warnings for those that are caught violating. So the people in the village are gonna know where they're at, so it's not like it's gonna be a surprise for them.
Right.
This is more so with, people flying through from out of town. The truck drivers that fly through, I'm not targeting truck drivers, I'm just saying we all see it. And we're not really best equipped at stopping those semis that aren't obeying the law. This does the same thing. It sends the bill directly to the trucking company.
It's interesting you mentioned that, Mayor, because this whole concept in my community started around tractor trailers. The whole thing started around tractor trailers.
With the elimination of front license plate, does that affect the efficacy of the system?
So we were worried it was going to. It turns out it doesn't, because you're actually capturing the rear of the plate.
Yeah, I saw it.
And state law requires the rear.
Right.
So it hasn't.
That's weird.
Yeah.
So with the mile, like the speed, as far as 1 to 30 over, that's where you get the start to 175 as far as the cost of the ticket.
Well, you don't start it at 1.
That's fine.
yeah.
The question would, right now, there's probably a leeway or a leniency, I guess, where how many miles per hour over the posted speed limit before you get issued that citation.
So if your speed limit is 35, you don't get the ticket until you're doing 45.
Oh.
Unless the chief happens to be out there and it's 8.5.
Yeah.
Does that,
I use my
does that send a
discretion
warning or
wisely.
anything at that point, or it doesn't?
So
generate
the
anything?
first 30 days, it's a warning. So the first 30 days the camera's on, it's a warning. You get a warning. After that, you get a ticket.
No, I mean, if it's under that.
Oh, no.
It
No,
doesn't
no.
generate anything at that
Correct.
point.
Right. I'm sorry, I misunderstood your question. I'm sorry.
But you're also talking about the flock cameras, and that's a whole separate,
That's completely different, yeah.
but that's something that you folks do as well.
We have done it, yes. I haven't done it in any of my communities, but the technology provider that we use, I would use for East Canton. They have done it. They do it all over Connecticut. So we may be able to implement that into your program at no extra cost. I also don't want to screw anything up for the chief.
No. Actually, just if I can interject, we actually spoke with Flock this week, and they have done that in some other communities where they have an overlay that they can use on those cameras with their software, so.
Any other questions?
This is a contract. There's a 3-year contract,
3-year
I believe, and there's an initial startup cost as well, correct? That's what we talked about.
There is a $25,000 deposit, but there's no payment out to us. What happens is once tickets are started getting paid, that amount is deducted on a monthly basis from the total amount paid to the city or the village rather. So, for example, if the village generates a check for $50,000 for the citations from the prior month, it would be deducted by $5,000 for the first 5 months to cover the $25,000 deposit, but there's nothing upfront that comes from the village.
I went through the contract and I sent all of the council members and the chief and the mayor a copy. I had highlighted in green the changes that we had discussed, one from a 5-year to a 3-year with the option for 1-year renewals after that. I also tried to highlight in yellow some of the other obligations of the village. To set up the posts that the cameras will be mounted on, to arrange for electrical service to those posts and so on. No insult to you, but those kind of hidden costs that, I just want you to be aware of.
We will cover the cost of the initial installation. I know it's oddly worded. It's if the village decides to move them, you would be responsible for moving them.
The initial one, but we still have to provide electricity.
Right.
And that would be metered for each unit. So
You're probably looking $12 a month, something like
it's
that.
de minimis, but I just want council to be aware. There's other expenses with running the system. And I tried to highlight those through there. Not to discourage you, but just to inform you.
You think you would cover the installation though, including like the wiring and things like that, but you're just saying the cost of
We-
electricity.
Are you familiar with signal service?
Cost to operate.
Do they operate, do they work down this area?
Yeah.
Signal service.
We use them,
Yeah. That's who we use to do all our installations.
I would ask that council consider going 3 full readings. So if you want to take up one reading tonight, the next reading would be 3 weeks from tonight, 'cause that's when the next council is, and then the final reading would be 2 weeks after that. To give the public plenty of time to come in and voice that they have opinions.
And that, I will say, the copy of the proposed ordinance that you have for the modification of the Ohio Basic Code is only less than 2 pages of what Charlie presented.
I was gonna say, the ordinance is long.
It was really long, and we already have 115 pages in the packet, so I just sort of condensed it and hit the highlighted section.
You just read like title only.
Right.
I think Councilman Buxton brought it up before the meeting about the need to set up a work session where we can kind of go through this. I mean,
Yeah. Now, this isn't including the flock that you were talking
Correct.
about. That's a separate.
Well, we can include the flock, but again, I would defer to the chief.
well, I guess that's, where we're confused. Are we looking at a whole separate company? Because I mean, the flock cameras are something completely different.
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Those are looking for, they're reading license plates, looking for criminals coming through your town.
Yes.
And ours
Things
can
of
do
that-
that.
Okay.
Ours can do what flock
It's an
does.
overlay.
But to be clear, this proposal does not include.
Right.
Okay. It's just this pitch of his.
And I will, if you'd like, I will get the details on what that looks like.
I'll send that.
Send it to chief? Okay.
I think we're all pretty much, the flock, that's a good tool. So I mean, for sure.
Excellent. Yep.
I believe Louisville uses that.
Yes, they do.
I can tell you, we use it, even though we have traffic cameras in my community, we also still use flock.
Yeah, when you're heading to Louisville, you'll see it. It's got a little solar panel on it. Yeah.
Any other questions?
And I'm available by email or phone if you guys just want to call and ask questions. I'm happy to answer those.
Sounds good. Thanks,
All
sir.
right, thank you.
Thank you.
Do I need to stay?
Thank you.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna go get dinner. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Glad she didn't hear this.
She got the report sign out back.
All right, anything else for safety? Anything else for safety?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Would it be prudent under the entity that controls where stop signs go in the village, taking an example of Noble Street, to slow people down, to put a stop sign at maybe every other intersection of road?
I think there's,
It might be prudent, but it's unlawful.
Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah, the Ohio Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices in the state code very specifically regulates where a stop sign may be placed, and stop signs shall not be used to control speed.
What is the ruling? I mean, why is it like that? Is it because people use it to control speeding?
Well, a
And
stop
they
sign is to prevent accidents.
Okay,
I sent an email to Henry and council a couple months ago. I guess it was Ed, before Henry was appointed. And don't misquote me, but there has to be a certain number of accidents at an intersection within 1 year. There has to be a certain number of traffic count, and there's another reason, sight distance. Other than that, you cannot place a stop sign.
so you have to meet certain parameters before you can do that?
That is correct.
Okay.
yeah, we attempted to do some things and it kind of blew up a little bit. So we're pretty.
Well, no, the dog lawyer steps in, says.
I think that was speed bumps, wasn't it, we were talking about?
We actually put in a couple stop signs. We had to take them out, so.
And speed bumps are
Take the
also
top.
speed
Slowing
tables.
coming traffic into the village.
Well, I asked about speed bumps before, and you're not allowed to do that. I think the answer was you can't do that on a public street.
Speed tables you can, but not stop signs. Yeah.
or a speed bump. There's a difference between a speed bump and a table.
Yeah.
Table is that flat thing and then it goes down at an angle, right?
Yes.
Big table.
All right, takes us to judicial.
All right, we got ordinance 2025-09, an ordinance to appoint Carol Wyder
Yes.
as a part-time police officer with the Village of East Canton Police Department, establish her hourly rate of pay at $20 per hour. Be it ordained by the council of the Village of East Canton, State of Ohio, the East Canton Village Council, Stark County, Ohio, does hereby authorize and approve the appointment of Carol Wydra as a part-time officer with the Village of East Canton Police Department, effective upon her passing a drug test at an hourly pay rate of $20, and with all the perquisites of a part-time police department employee as set forth in the East Canton Village Employees Handbook and East Canton Police Department policies and procedures. The hiring shall be on a 1-year probationary period, and council does hereby further authorize the East Canton Village Fiscal Officer to do all things necessary to accomplish the purpose and intent of this ordinance. Section 2, the village fiscal officer is hereby authorized to draw warrants on the village treasury for payments from any of the respective appropriations and accounts for salaries or wages for persons employed by authority of and in accordance with law or ordinance. Be it further ordained, it is hereby found and determined that all formal actions of this council concerning or relating to the passage of this ordinance were taken in an open meeting of this council, and that all deliberations of this council and any of its committees that result in such formal action were meetings open to the public in compliance with the law. Be it further ordained that this ordinance is hereby declared to be an emergency measure necessary for the immediate preservation of the public peace, health, safety, convenience, and welfare of the Village of East Canton, and shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage and at the earliest date allowable by law. So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Collins.
Yay.
Baloo.
Yay.
Contos.
Yay.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz. Buck.
Yay. Motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Roll call, Collins.
Yay.
Baloo.
Yay.
Contos.
Yay.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz. Buxton.
Yay. Okay. Third and final reading of ordinance 2025-09 by title only. An ordinance to appoint Carol Wydra as a part-time police officer with the Village of East Canton Police Department and to establish her hourly rate of pay at $20 per hour. So.
Second.
Roll call, Collins.
Yay.
Baloo.
Yay.
Contos.
Yay.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz. Buxton.
Yay.
You could read. If you didn't want to read the whole thing, so you should read this upper section. That would be good enough.
All right, we've got, this is gonna be resolution.
Yeah.
R 2025-06. Is that correct?
Yeah, I got 04, but that was the other one like this. You're right. 06 is fine. Yes.
The following is a resolution enacted by the Village of East Canton, Stark County, Ohio, hereinafter referred to as the local public agency. Section 1, project description. Whereas the LPA and state has identified the need for this described project. Resurfacing of US 30 from the west corporate limit to the East Canton corporate limit, and resurfacing of State Route 172 from Cedar Street to Browning Court, skipping concrete section between Nassau Street and Wood Street in the Village of East Canton. Now therefore be it ordained by the Village of East Canton, Stark County, Ohio. So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Collins.
Yay.
Baloo.
Yay.
Contos.
Yay.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz. Buxton.
Yay.
Anything else for judicial?
The annual appropriations. I didn't have it typed here. I handwrote it somewhere in there. Should be on everybody. I'm sorry.
2510.
Pardon me?
2025-10.
2025-10, ordinance 2025-10, an ordinance to appropriate the current expenses and other anticipated expenditures of the Village of East Canton, Stark County, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2025. Be it ordained by the Council of the Village of East Canton, State of Ohio, that to provide the current expenses and other anticipated expenditures of said Village of East Canton during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2025, the following sums should be, and they are hereby set aside and appropriated as follows. General Fund, $1,114,632. Special Revenue Funds, $1,023,481.31. The Corona Relief Funds, ARC Funds, $124,238.25. Capital Project Funds, $363,591.67. Proprietary Funds, $871,469. And Fiduciary Funds, $40,000, for a total of all funds in the amount of $3,537,412.23. The fiscal officer is hereby authorized to draw warrants on the village treasurer for payments from any of the foregoing appropriations upon receiving proper certificates and vouchers, therefore approved by the council or officers authorized by law to approve the same, or an ordinance or resolution of the council to make the expenditures, provided that no warrants shall be drawn or paid for salaries or wages except to persons employed by a authority of and in accordance with law or ordinance. Provided further that the appropriations for contingencies can only be expended upon appeal of 2/3 vote of council for items of expense constituting a legal obligation against the village and for purposes other than those covered by other specific appropriations herein made. Be it further ordained, it is hereby found and determined that all formal actions of this council concerning and relating to the passage of this ordinance were taken in an open meeting of this council, and that all deliberations of this council and of any of its committees that resulted in such formal action were meetings open to the public in compliance with the law. Be it further ordained that this ordinance is hereby declared to be an emergency measure necessary for the immediate preservation of the public peace, health, safety, convenience, and welfare of the Village of East Canton, and shall be in full force and effect and after its passage at the earliest date allowable by law.
Second.
Roll call, Collins.
Yeah.
Blue.
Yeah.
Contos.
Yeah.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz. Dawson.
Yeah.
Anything else for judicial?
Suspend the rules.
Motion to place.
Motion to suspend rules.
Second.
Roll call, Collins.
Yeah.
Blue.
Yeah.
Contos.
Yeah.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz. Dawson.
Third and final reading of ordinance 2025-10, an ordinance to appropriate the current expenses and other anticipated expenditures of the Village of East Canton, Stark County, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2025.
So
Second.
Roll call, Collins.
Yeah.
Blue.
Yeah.
Contos.
Yeah.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz. Dawson.
be up, do you guys want to take up a roll call on these traffic cam things, or do you want to discuss it first?
I would like to discuss it. I'd like to have a work session scheduled for next week. We can discuss that. Uniform stuff, make sure we just get all that ironed out.
What about the handbook? You guys ready to do the handbook?
We've already been over the changes in it.
I'm just trying to get these things cleaned up, guys. Are you gonna get it? Do you wanna table that until after that work session?
Maybe what else do we need to hear about this? This is what he's recommending.
Look. All right, when do you want your work session? Monday?
Yeah, we can do that.
What time?
You want to do the same time? 7, is that okay?
Seven's good.
All right, Monday, 7.
Yeah, why don't we discuss the handbook updates from there? the uniform stuff.
Handbook, uniform, traffic camera. So basically, you're asking for all of council, right?
Yeah.
You say 7 Monday?
Yes.
Everybody again? Anything else for judicial? All right. Grants, anything for grants?
Yes. This past week, I thought it might be interesting to see how other municipalities go about getting the grants and other funding for their services. So the first thing I did was I called Canton City, and I got a hold of their fiscal officer. His name's John Ring, and very pleasant fellow to talk to on the phone. And from what he tells me, for the city of Canton, the department heads are primarily responsible for getting grants for their departments. Now, John himself has some expertise in grant writing, but he only helps them out on some of the more difficult stuff. Primarily, it's all them. Now, there are grants out there that are very complex, and he suggested getting a group called the Gatchel Grant Resource LLC. And I sent my findings out in an email to all the council members and you, Mr. Mayor. So you have that information as well. They've used this grant resource in the past for really complicated grants that they've got. He also suggested contacting Keith Hochdale, which he called ahead and told them to expect my call. And when I called, I got a voicemail, so I left my name and number, and I have not got a response from that yet. After that, my next move was to call the City of Alliance, and I talked to their fiscal officer, Mr. Mike Dreger. And he also said that their department heads primarily get the grants for their departments. He said also for more complex stuff, he recommended the Gatchel Grant Resource. I put the link to their webpage there. And one of the things he mentioned was if you have this group do a grant for you, of course, you pay them their fee. But if you don't get it, they will continue to offer it up when it comes around again, free of charge for the next 2 years. I found that kind of interesting. I went to the Gatchel Grant Resource webpage, and in their Contact Us tab, they had one of their people. Her name is Donna Riggs. In her section, it says, any questions with regards to budget information, as well as any city, township, village, or nonprofit related grant questions shall be directed to Donna Riggs. So I emailed her at the email you see there, and so far I've not gotten a response. Just a cursory look over their web page seemed overwhelming, much the same as the grant.gov site was. So I'm still digging into it, seeing if I can make some sense of it and find out some more information. So that's everything that I've been up to this past week concerning grants.
All right. Anything else for grants?
Yeah, I do have a question. Is it really, not that you're not doing everything you can, but is it really that difficult to find a grant writer? Is it a big deal to be a grant writer?
There
I
are
don't know
skill
anything
sets
about it.
involved with it, from what I've been led to believe. I'm still a novice at the entire thing. But the more people I talk to about it, it can get quite complex because there's specific information that they need to have in order to do that. Some grants are just, here's some money. Some grants you have to match what you're given. Some are a reimbursement thing, and it all depends on who you're getting it from.
Do you have to have like some kind of degree to write a grant, or do you just have to know how to do it?
You just gotta know where you look for, what information you need, how to get it, how to file it. And I respect what Council President Blue mentions about department heads at these other cities, but we have to remember those are cities, and they have a lot of administrative staff on those cities. So the department head is purely administrative, whereas the Village of East Canton, our department heads do a lot of operational activities as well. So I don't think it's I don't think it's like an apples to apples comparison.
No, not really.
So, but yeah, to your original question, no, there is no college degree required. All right, takes us to finance.
All right, finance, we've got a few things. We're gonna make a motion to approve invoices, amount of $34,087.31, as presented by Fiscal Officer Geis.
Second.
Roll call, Collins.
Yeah.
Blue.
Yeah.
Contos.
Yeah.
Van.
Yes.
Buxton.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Amstutz.
Yeah.
Buxton.
Yeah. And we've got payroll, so we're gonna make a motion to approve payroll in the amount of $18,410.43. And I'll pass that one around for signatures, and there's one from last minute that we just need to sign. Give me a second.
Second.
Roll call, Collins.
Yeah.
Blue.
Yeah.
Contos.
Yeah.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz. Buxton.
Yay. I'd also like to make a motion to approve the January and February bank reconciliation as presented by Fiscal Officer Geis. And I'll pass that around to the as well.
We have a standing motion.
Second.
Roll call, Collins.
Yeah.
Blue.
Yeah.
Contos.
Yeah.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz. Buxton.
Yay.
Kurt, the temporary appropriations report, what date is that through?
Through the 19th. I believe it's on there.
That is in the meeting packet.
Yeah.
Have we been able to get that to the department managers?
Yeah.
Okay. So the department managers, you both have access to that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Those dollar amounts will be changing now that we've
Did he?
got permanent appropriations. But yes, I met with Chris last Friday, and Henry, he talks to me a dozen times a day.
Yeah, I just want to make sure they have the reports to reference.
They
that.
got 'em, yep.
Okay. Anything else for finance?
No.
Takes us to other, as council decided the yard sale date for the village. We set the cleanup date to the 17th of May. Yard sale,
That's maybe we got.
week after. That is Memorial Day weekend. So I don't know, if that would be,
Maybe we got that.
The cleanup was the 17th, right?
Yeah. that would be the May 30th. That'd be, yeah, 30th, 31st, and June 1st would be a Sunday. So Friday to Sunday, May 30th through June 1st. Does that agree?
Great garage sale.
Nothing else going on that weekend, right?
I'm not aware
It's
of.
fine with me.
Yeah.
No, the festival's 2 weeks after that, yeah.
Kathy?
Yeah.
When was the festival date?
20th and 21st.
So May 30th through June 1st. All right, anything else for other? Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Colin.
Yep.
Luke.
Yay.
Canton.
Yay.
Dan.
Yes.
And Sexton.
Cheers.
Nope.